know, it really stinks. I mean, you used to have all these traditions, and 2020 gets in the way, especially if you have those unique kind of things you do with your family when it comes to, I guess a better way to call it is the Reindeer Games. It's Rob and Liz, his morning crew on his radio.
You know, I was thinking, though, we can think back about some of the most fun Christmas party games that we played. Maybe it's White Elephant or something like that. But, you know, even in this year, we could still have an ugly Christmas sweater party because we could do it virtually. We could do it on Zoom.
I got to find an ugly sweater. I don't have any anymore.
What'd you do with them? You cleaned out the closet and got rid of all of
Said,
them?
out of here. Out of here. They got to be good looking. I know it's a tradition for some people, the ugly Christmas sweaters. But what about you when it comes to those reindeer games and stuff? You should have seen, okay, this is on Instagram. I'm sorry you have to take a look at his radio's Instagram to see the antics. When Daddy's not in the studio, because I've been virtual, they have fun. They have fun. And so, what is it? It looks like these are blown up antlers, and you're tossing rings across the room to get on the antlers.
Yeah, I think it has 6 antlers that you could possibly ring. So TJ was trying to ring the antlers, you know, that I had on my head. And then I did the same for him. And yeah, we were playing. This is actually Reindeer Games we were playing. And it was a lot of fun.
Well, you should see how it ended up. So, but that's on our Instagram page. You'll see it right there. 800-447-7234. Hey, Denise, you wanted to chime in on some reindeer games, huh?
When I was really young, my dad used to own a couple companies, and one of the things that he used to do with his coworkers is surprise all the kids that worked for his company. They went to the junkyard and got some really old car hoods and waxed them and polished them and tucked them with really nice comforter, you know, like what is it called, the seats that they do that in. And they surprised us on Christmas Eve morning. Had all the guys come up to the shop where my dad's business was at, and they pulled all the kids up to the top of the hill on these sleighs, and they would just let us run down, up and down the hill for hours while the moms were preparing Christmas Eve dinner.
What a great memory. I love that they did that for you. That kind of describes a reindeer game right there. But what about you? Here's the number. It's 800-447-7234.
His morning crew.
Talking about those traditions, those games that you would play, those things that you would do with a family every year. I remember my grandmother would hide Christmas gifts because I would be one that would try to look in and snoop. Seriously, I would.
Yeah, I think a lot of kids try. I used to do the same thing. I maybe went a little bit farther than that, but we'll just leave it there.
What'd you do? No. What'd you do?
I would...
Go ahead.
I would.
Confession is good.
I would take a little razor and I would slit the tape open on the present. No. I was like 13 or 14.
Liz.
And I would open and I would look, and then I would put the tape right back on top of where it had been.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized I'm not getting any surprises. Like, you know,
see?
from my parents.
I would always
I stopped doing it.
I'd make it a game just to try to find the presents. And then I could snoop and see what I was getting.
Yeah.
I would find them every year.
You're just but aren't you disappointed then on Christmas morning?
No, because now I know what to expect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was always disappointed.
Kristen is here at 800-447-7234. What's up, Kristen?
Yeah, I was just listening to your comment about the presents. My parents obviously trusted us too, but they did it a little different. They'd wrap all the presents and put them under the tree and not put any labels on them, so we didn't know whose was whose.
Okay, that's brilliant.
That is pretty cool.
And hopefully they didn't forget what present was what when it came to Christmas Day, right?
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Instead of super subs, which makes them sound like sandwiches, I'm just going to call them superheroes. It's Rob and Liz, his morning crew on his radio, and that is the parents that are stepping up for the substitute teachers that have to substitute for the teachers that are out because of COVID. A lot of substitute teachers are now getting it, so parents are stepping up as super subs.
Yeah, Yeah. There was a teacher shortage in some parts of the country, even before the pandemic. And then since, of course, it's just grown exponentially. So, parents are stepping in. So here's what's happening. I don't know if they're still having to go through substitute training or if they're just coming in as, I hate to say babysitters, but just sort of to watch the classes. But a lot of the parents are saying, you know what? I'm there. I'm substituting for a substitute who's substituting for a teacher, but I am all in. I'm going to make sure that these kids learn to the best of my and their ability.
And the super subs have got a lot of at-home training because of the virtual schools. I mean, my wife is 3 days a week down with Elijah right in front of that computer screen, and she's helping to teach and get it right. That's just something that a lot of teachers are doing that. And a lot of parents are doing that, I should say.
And thank you to them.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
If you love seeing movies, and I absolutely do, I'm one of those people that loves to go to movie theaters. Haven't been able to do it for quite a while this year. At least one of the major movie companies has said, you know what, we've had to rethink business this year. And so we've got some movies that are going to not only be in theaters, but they're going to stream. A lot of different streaming services. The first one that we're going to get from Warner Brothers is going to be Wonder Woman 1984. We've told you about that. It's going to stream on Christmas Day, but it's also going to be in theaters. But they said there are 17 movies in 2021 they're going to do the same thing too.
Oh, that's good. At least you have an opportunity to see it. It might be a little pricey, but you'd spend probably a lot more money in a movie theater than you would sitting at home.
Right, because, you got to buy the popcorn and the M&Ms and the big drink and whatever.
Well, and a ticket for everybody in your party, too, where it's just one price that covers, the movie, not every seat that's in the movie house.
Right. I think I read that it was going to be $30 to stream Wonder Woman, I think is what I heard.
Not bad.
It's really not when you consider, like you say, a lot of times when you go to a theater to see a movie, you've gone out to dinner first, you get the candy, the whole thing. So if you have a family of 4, you're dropping over $100.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of time just to go to the movie theater. Now you can sit at home and watch it in 4K if you want.
I know. And then in 2021, we're going to get movies like the sequel to Space Jam. That's going to be one of those. And of course, possibly your kids are going to be watching that. I don't know the rating on it, but at least that's something we can maybe look forward to.
Yeah, I hope a lot more family films will start coming out.
Me too.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Okay, this Monolith thing is so weird. You've probably seen this in social media. So in Southern California and in Utah, this monolith has shown up. I had to look it up. I'm like, Alexa, tell me what a monolith is, because I had no idea what that was. So it turns out a monolith is basically an ancient stone structure or, a piece of, material like that. That's really ancient. This thing is metal. It's real shiny. And so flying over the desert in Utah, I think it was last week, these guys spotted it. So they landed their copter, they walked over, and then they saw, wow, this is really strange. It's just a big piece of metal sticking straight up in the ground in the middle of nowhere in the desert in Utah. And so they took a picture of it, posted it on social media. They went back, I guess days later, it was gone. And then it shows up something similar to it, if not the same thing, in Southern California the other day. Here's the thing. On social media, somebody said, well, here's a picture of a truck driving with it somewhere. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're trying to claim UFO, but you see people driving around with a thing that looks like it. And so I think there's a group of people that have gotten together and say, hey, let's just have some fun in 2020. And they're just popping it up in places.
It's kind of like that artist Banksy that is always pulling like these practical jokes with his art. Maybe it's something like that. It's just somebody, like you said, a group of people or one person just trying to have some fun. I don't think it's an alien.
No, neither do I. And I think there's a group of people that are like in cahoots because one popped up in Romania, they say. You can do anything with Photoshop, just to let you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going on with this monolith, as they say.
Mornings with Rob and Liz.
If you're a fan of this one movie series, you know this line very well. Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope. It's Rob and Liz, his morning crew on his radio, and it looks like since Star Wars is doing really good, especially with The Mandalorian, they're going to go ahead with Kenobi on Disney Plus.
I'm excited about that. Sir Alec Guinness played the original, which gets confusing when you talk about the original because he was the older Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ewan McGregor has played him in the most recent films, and that is who's going to, of course, reprise the role. This is going to be like a series, isn't it, streaming?
Just like Mandalorian. So
Yeah.
Kenobi is going to be a streaming series. It's going to come out on Disney Plus, and they're going to begin filming next month. So it will be a thing. Some people who are Star Wars fans were like, we don't know if it's going to happen. They've been talking about not doing anymore. But Mandalorian's really, done a great job for them. So they're going to go ahead with the Kenobi series.
Yeah, and what's really funny is when I was reading this story, they're going to film parts of it in London. Totally makes sense to me, right? Ewan McGregor is British. Okay, It just made sense. But they're also going to film in Boston. And I was like, what?
Yeah, you got the accents there in Boston.
Hello, my name is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know I don't do a Boston accent, but oh my goodness, that's just weird.
That sounded like a great Boston accent to me.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Sounds like the longest road trip ever to me. Atlanta, Georgia to Alaska. And then you're stranded in snow. It's Rob and Liz, his morning crew on his radio. But yet, how she got help to get to where her husband's stationed in Alaska is amazing.
Yeah, it is. Lynn and her family, couple of kids, they packed up the car. Her husband was already in Alaska. He was already stationed. He was at the military base, and they said, okay, we're going to go join Dad. So they pack the car and they head out. Of course, being from the South, she's not real familiar with driving in all the snow. So she gets up to Canada. Canada, during the COVID-19 pandemic, has said, you've got like 5 days to get in and get out of this country. Because she didn't know how to drive in the snow. She was having some issues. She needed help. She was stranded. She didn't have snow tires and things like that. So she went on social media and said, I need help. So there's a guy and his wife that saw this post and they said, yeah, I can help you drive that 1,000 miles to get to Alaska. No worries whatsoever. And he did. He helped Lynn and her kids reunite with her husband, asking for nothing in return at all.
Amazing. Just did it because they wanted to help.
Yeah.
And get a nice road trip out of it, too.
Oh, I know. Maybe saw parts of his own country that he'd never seen before. Maybe he'd never been to Alaska. But the road trip, they are forever grateful to this man who put his life on hold just to help a stranger in need.
His morning crew.
If you would, please, because there's some certain things that you really like, and there are times you just need to get it out of your system, and you talk to somebody about it. Well, that would be Liz on his morning crew. Hi, I'm Rob, and that's Liz. That would be Liz when it comes to the royal family. So if you could just bear with us, she's got to get this out of the system, because she likes to follow the royal family in England.
I do, and their Christmas plans are going to be a little different, like most of us. Normally, they get together as the family at their country home, one of their country homes in Sandringham. It's this huge estate, and they all go there as a family. They're not going to do that this year. They normally walk to church as a family on Christmas.
Oh, that's nice. I'm glad they do that.
They do, but not going to happen this year because part of it is Queen Elizabeth is 94. Her husband, Prince Philip, is 99. So they're in that vulnerable, category when it comes to the pandemic. So what they have decided to do as a couple is spend their Christmas at Windsor Castle. So a huge castle. Have you seen the pictures of Windsor Castle?
Don't they live there? Is this where they live?
Buckingham Palace. See, they have a lot of homes. They have Buckingham Palace. They have Windsor Castle. They have Sandringham. They have Frogmore Cottage. They have all of these different estates where they go. But they have decided just to stay at Windsor Castle this year. The last time that the royal family was together as a group, as all of them, Prince Charles, Prince William, all these people together, was back in March, just like us. I know, stop. Before the pandemic actually hit, I think Prince Charles had COVID earlier this year. So the Queen and Prince Philip are really trying to stay as healthy as possible because she is the reigning monarch and she is not wanting to give up the throne, at least not yet, for Prince Charles.
Okay. So. Is it out of your system?
It's really not, because I could go on.
Oh, no. We're good. Thank you.
His morning crew.
When you love meat and for some reason you had to take it out of your diet and you had to go vegan, you totally miss a lot of things, like meatballs, for instance. So Vegan Beyond Meatballs are making their debut at Costco. And there are people that are like, oh, good, because I miss a meatball. And a lot of the Beyond Meat stuff, I'll have to admit, tastes really realistic, like it's meat. At least to me, it does.
Yeah, that like Morningstar is a really good one. The Boca burgers I've used before. I mean, I don't know what the meatballs are made out of, what they're using, but it usually tastes pretty good.
Yeah, talking about the vegan meatballs at Costco, just in case you're joining us. But oh my word, now that they're available, and for people who like miss the meat and want to have like meatballs in their spaghetti, there you go. It's nice.
And if you put enough sauce on it, who knows the difference?